What's up everybody, it's Sean here, and I'm here today to give you guys my review of the New Balance 990 V6 in this gray colorway. Today's video is brought to you by who else? The good people from Heffelux. Heffelux is my all-time favorite sneaker insoles, and they sell eTPU insoles, which really is the same material you'll find inside Adidas Boost. So if you're looking to add some additional comfort inside your shoes, be sure to check out their website, which I've linked down below in the description box. You'll see they sell a variety of different insoles, so depending on the type of insole density and the cushioning setup you're looking for, you're going to find there's a suitable insole for anyone. So I've been a paying customer of Heffelux for years now, and I personally find them to be extremely comfortable. So if you guys want to check them out and try a pair for yourself, be sure to use the code SEANGO at checkout to get 15% off your entire purchase. So after months and months and months of waiting and high anticipation, New Balance finally released their 6th generation of the iconic 990 series. Releasing at New Balance on November 4th for a retail price of $200 or $260 here in Canada, the debut colorway of the 990 V6 is of course none other than the iconic gray color. So the style code for this shoe is M990GL6, and I think it's safe to say that when the initial images of the V6 leaked, the reaction in the community was pretty mixed. There was definitely a ton of hate surrounding this model, but there were definitely New Balance heads out there that were a fan of this shoe. For me at least, I was kind of mixed. I was so used to the more classic looking designs of the V3, the V4, and the V5, and the fact that the last three 990s kind of look all similar. And I think why it took some time to grow on me is because this V6 is so different design wise. And I gotta say, now that I have them in hand and now that I've really had time to soak up the design, it's a much more modern looking shoe. And I think I can confidently say now that I am a fan of this model. Even when you compare the V5 to the V6 just looks much more youthful, it looks more dynamic looking and organic, and not only does it look more like a modern lifestyle shoe, but it also features more performance tech within it as well, which makes it the best of both worlds, being a great casual shoe, but also, don't quote me on this, but probably being a decent running shoe as well. So first things first, here's a quick look at the box, and unlike the dark gray cardboard boxes that the past 990 V5 came in, this comes in a lighter gray cardboard box with this dark gray New Balance logo on the top. So with all that being said, now let's dive into the details of the shoe and I'll break down all the components. So starting things off with the toe box, the base layer of the shoe is constructed out of this gray colored mesh material. Right above this we have this reflective 3M hit with the New Balance logo, along with another 3M hit on the medial edge of the toe box. And then overlaid on either side, we have this perforated dark gray nubuck. Surrounding the front toe cap, we have this very soft, very buttery, light gray colored suede, and this same suede covers the eyelets of the shoe, as well as along the bottom of the mid panel as well. In between this, we have more of that perforated nubuck, but stitched on top of this, we have this New Balance end logo, which is once again constructed out of that reflective 3M material in a combination of silver and white. And you might notice that the V6 has done away with a lot of suede on the upper, which gives it more of that sporty, modern look that I was referring to earlier. Moving downwards, so the top two eyelets are covered in this reflective 3M panel once again, and then underneath this we have another reflective panel which runs along the back of the shoe. Beneath this we have this gray suede which wraps around the bottom of the heel, and pressed onto the lateral side we have 990 branding. In the middle of the heel we have this dark gray colored TPU overlay which gives you additional structure and support for the back end of the shoe, and in the middle we have the New Balance logo, and underneath that we have Made in USA branding. And the top of the heel is covered in this layer of dark gray mesh. In terms of lace options, so these come with two different laces, which was a nice surprise. The standard default lace that they come with is a flat style lace in white, but they also give you a gray colored lace as well. Underneath this, so the bottom half of the tongue is constructed out of that same mesh that we saw earlier on the toe box, but we have this mesh overlay towards the top, and this is that same mesh that we saw earlier on the back of the shoe. And then fused onto the top, we have this New Balance 990 V6 branding, which if you notice compared to the V5, does away with that American flag. So the back of the tongue and the interior of the shoe is lined in this light gray colored mesh material. And then as for the insoles, so these come with your standard foam lined insole. It's not overly thick and padded, but it has a decent amount of cushioning to it. And then stamped on the heel, we have New Balance running branding in white. So the upper of the 990 V6 sits atop this very chunky midsole, which is painted primarily in white. So the midsole here incorporates New Balance's fuel cell technology, which is a tech that's normally found on their top running shoes. And the overall midsole has a very sculpted and dynamic look to it, which makes it look more athletic looking and more aggressive too. In addition to the fuel cell, they also incorporated the time and tested end cap technology, which is this gray colored wedge which wraps around the heel, And this is basically that same dual density foam setup consisting of a softer EVA core surrounded by a stiffer polyurethane rim, giving you a good balance of softness in the middle and support on the edges. And then finally, flipping the shoe over to the bottom, so this is an all new design outsole as well. So this is constructed out of rubber in a combination of black and gray. We have this wavy style traction pattern on the forefoot, along with these horizontal grooves to give you added flexibility. And on the medial side of the heel, we have the New Balance branding, along with this exposed fuel cell wedge on the bottom, and here you'll see fuel cell branding as well. So that breaks down the look and the components of the New Balance 990 V6. And for those wondering about sizing, that's probably the million-dollar question for anyone watching this video. Because the 990 V6 is offered in different widths, they actually offer standard, wide, extra wide, and XX wide. Because my feet are a little bit on the wider side, I picked up pairs in both the standard width and the wide width just to compare. So my feet measures as a true size 10, slightly on the wider side, and I usually go a half size down in a 9.5 in a lot of made in USA New Balance models, for example, the 990 V3, V4, V5, the 992, the 993, as well as other models like the 998 and a lot of my 550s as well. So I picked these up in a 9.5 standard, a 10 standard, and a 9.5 wide. And long story short, I feel like these run a little bit long, but a little bit narrow as well. So if you have narrow or normal width feet, I would definitely recommend going a half size down. When I tried on my pair that was a half size down, there was about a finger's width between the edge of the shoe and the top of my toe, which is more than enough. But I have to warn wide footers, if you have especially a high instep, this area right here where the bottom lace is, this could irritate the front half of your foot. So it wasn't totally uncomfortable for me, but I could feel some of that pressure pressing down right beneath my toes. So when I tried on the 9.5 wide, the length of the shoe was perfect once again, and there was much more room width-wise, but I felt like going to that 2E width, I lost a bit of stability, and my foot didn't really feel as secure as the standard width pair. So I tried on my 9.5 in this one compared to my 990 V3 and V4, and I felt like the V6 ran a touch more narrow, especially around this area right here, but if anything, they ran a little bit longer lengthwise. So again, it depends on the width of your foot, but I feel like for most people, if you stick with that standard width and go a half size down, you should be okay. The only issue comes across is if you do have wider foot, whether you should stick true to size or go up to that wide width. So I would definitely recommend buying them on if you can first, in order to properly assess what size fits best for you. So I know I just rambled a lot right now, but hopefully that gives you a better sense of how these fit. Moving on to the comfort, so the V6 once again incorporates fuel cell, and my overall impression just wearing these casually is that they definitely feel softer overall, and you do sacrifice a lot of the stability and support that the V5s had over these. So this goes back to personal preference once again. If you're someone that likes more of a cushioned and softer and pillowy feel, then you'll like these V6s over the V5s and the prior models in fact. But if you're someone that likes more stability and support, then you might not love this. Even when I compare this to the V3, so once again, the cushioning was a lot softer, but the V3 just felt more of a well-balanced and supported shoe. Especially on this heel area where it's extra chunky, when you lean backwards and put all your weight towards your heel, it kind of feels like you're wobbling a bit, and I felt a noticeable difference in terms of cushioning between the forefoot and the heel, where it feels like there's just way more stacked cushioning on the heel. So this goes back to the concept of the V3 being a more balanced shoe. I just felt like the differences between the heel and the forefoot were more noticeable for this one. And it comes down once again to personal preference on how you like your shoes to feel underfoot. But don't get me wrong, the V6 is a very, very comfortable sneaker, and I think this is definitely a shoe I can wear for long hours in a day, and I'll probably bring this shoe with me on my upcoming vacation as well, just to see how they hold up. Finally, in terms of the overall quality and the craftsmanship. So first off, material quality, I thought it was solid. This is definitely just in line with any other made in USA 990. The only difference is, of course, there's less suede on this shoe compared to those previous versions. There's a lot more synthetic materials, meshes, and TPU overlays, which some people will definitely not like, but I feel like this shoe is noticeably lighter compared to those other models as well. And in terms of the build and the craftsmanship, really I had no issues at all with this pair. There were no glue stains, the stitch job was pretty pristine, so I gotta say New Balance did a really solid job with this 990 V6, which they probably should do anyways, considering this is the launch pair of this silhouette. So with all that out of the way now, let's toss these on feet and I'll show you guys how these look. So all in all, the 990 V6 has a lot of good changes and a lot of not so good changes depending on your personal preferences. At the end of the day though, for me at least, I like the design of this shoe, and I think the comfort is definitely still there compared to those past versions. It's just a little bit tweaked and it feels a bit different underfoot, which I personally didn't mind at all. And knowing New Balance, I'm very excited to see future colorways of this V6, as well as upcoming collaborations, which I know are definitely coming down the pipeline. It's just a matter of who and when. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this great colorway of the New Balance 990 V6. What are your overall thoughts on the silhouette in general? And is this a model that you think you would pick up eventually, whether it's a general release colorway, an upcoming collab? Let me know in the comment section down below your overall thoughts. If you guys like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. You can follow me on Instagram at esco8, follow my Twitter as well at sean.go, and visit my website at seango.ca. So until next time, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll catch you guys all in the next one.